Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us with our Sit Down with a Student. My name is Josh Curry. I am the Bible teacher here at Cookson Hills Christian School. I have with me this evening one of our seniors, Lucas Conley. If you want to say hey to everybody, Lucas.
What's up, guys?
Real quick, I'd like to give you guys a little bit of a background and something that I think will give you an insight into Lucas. I was his cross country coach, and this past season there was a time when I wasn't going to be able to lead practice, and Lucas came to me and said, "Look, I'd like to lead practice in your place, even though because you're not going to be there." And I said, "Well, if you want to lead practice, you need to go to the athletic director. You need to get approval from the principal, and then I need to see a list of what you're wanting to do." And for a lot of people, a task like that, like you set up tasks like that, and it'll be enough to just kind of be like, and you know what? It seemed like a good idea, but no, I don't want to do that.
Right.
Not just students, like a lot of people, that's true. And when you know that the next day, Lucas came to me and he said, "I talked to Mr. Kelly, and he said if it's cool with Miss Jackson, who said she's fine by it. So here is," and he had this spiral notebook with a itemized minute by minute breakdown of what practice would look like. And that was kind of the first time that it was just a really cool kind of moment for me to interact with Lucas outside of the classroom and see his leadership growing and see him, just like stepping into a role that I thought was pretty neat.
So that practice was going to be brutal. So it's probably a good thing that there was a heat advisor that day.
Good for your teammates, I suppose.
Right.
Well, Lucas, I'd like to give you a few seconds just to kind of introduce yourself, and then we'll get going with a few questions.
Like you said, my name is Lucas. I am a senior at Cookson Hills, and I came to Cookson in March 2019. One thing about Cookson that particularly Mr. Curry that I thought was really cool was coming into Cookson, I didn't have a ton of teachers who were like directly involved in your life on a day-to-day. And Mr. Curry particularly, he continued to take initiative outside of the classroom, like whether it was, like he said, cross country, or even just like we were playing a pickup game of basketball outside, or whenever we helped the Currys move houses up to the top of the hill. I thought it was really cool that Mr. Curry was there to like talk and continue to give me wisdom, but continue to just like interact as a friend slash student or slash teacher slash like. I don't want to make you sound like Gandalf, but like, like,
I'll take Gandalf.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. But yeah, just someone who's like continuing to like prod me along throughout the whole experience. So that was pretty cool.
Well, thanks, man. Yeah. So obviously, Lucas, we are not in the classroom together. We're not sitting side by side.
We are not.
So where are you right now? What you got going on, man?
Well, I'm on an interview right now. Right now I'm in Ark City, Kansas with my family, and my parents decided that because of this whole Corona thing, we weren't sure exactly how bad it was going to get because, none of us really expected it to get as bad as it is now. But so they decided to just take me home to finish out the school year and to spend more time with them before I go to basic training. So.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, we actually made the move to finish our school year with at-home learning. So that kind of was what was able to enable that to happen for Lucas. So how has it been being back home? What's it like?
It's been really good. I mean, we've been quarantined, obviously, but like it's been really good to just like spend more time with family because like honestly, being quarantined is a really good time to like kind of throw away all the busyness of life and just spend time with your family, So we've been doing a lot of just like family activities and just hanging out and doing schoolwork. And that's basically been my life for the past few weeks.
Yeah. So on top of all of that, you're still in your senior year. You're still working towards, graduation and getting that diploma. So how's it been trying to finish your schoolwork?
It has been a challenge for sure. Because despite being quarantined, there still is more distraction at home than there is at Cookson, So, like, keeping up with my schoolwork, because your schoolwork's still just as challenging, and meeting with some teachers through Zoom call and things like that is a major help, but school is still like definitely a challenge being away from Cookson. So like it's definitely a judge of my own personal character, being able to like stay diligent on my schoolwork and like try to actually graduate, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So thanks for sharing that. Cause I mean, we've got a lot of that going on. I think it's easy to forget how it's affecting not just our family or our unit, but everybody. Right.
Right.
So I want to ask you a couple questions that are not related to our current circumstances, but instead just kind of focus on your time at Cookson and the growth that you were able to experience there. So
Yeah, sure.
if you would kind of do a self-assessment here, and if you could kind of share with us when you first arrived at Cookson Hills, how would you describe your self-image and how you thought of yourself?
Okay. How I thought of my self-image when I came to Cookson initially was like I thought I was a lot better than everybody. I was super arrogant, really egotistical. I just had like that, like I'm better than you type of personality type of thing. And it was honestly like it was a breaking point for a lot of friendships, you know? Because if you can't have a normal conversation with your friend because he's like so arrogant, then there's really no point in having him as a friend, you know? So that's why it was definitely really rough initially coming to Cookson, just because it was one of those things where I recognized that I needed help, but I didn't like. I was still too arrogant to like accept that I needed help. So it was really like it's kind of a crazy thing.
Yeah. So how were you able to kind of work through that then?
A lot of prayer. it was really challenging initially at first because I didn't necessarily want to stop my old lifestyle, but at the same time, I knew that I needed to. So I spent a lot more time in the Bible, doing a lot more Bible studies, praying a lot more, actually trying to obtain wisdom from my peers around me because I spent my whole life thinking that wisdom is just something that's given and you can't just give it or take it. It's something you actually have to obtain. So working through trying to obtain knowledge and wisdom throughout my time at Cookson was a big help too. And just trying to be more respectful because the more that I respect others, the more I give positive respect for myself, which in turn means I won't be nearly as arrogant. And it's kind of a domino effect in a positive way.
Which I would say it's intriguing because you were able to strike a balance. Actually, your classmates, your peers voted you the most respected in the school, and the staff and teachers, we think highly of you, and you're a student that was a student leader, and we knew we could lean on, and we valued your opinion, valued your input, and I really feel like you found a way to strike that balance between like confidence and arrogance, from
Right.
going from egotistical to you can be confident in your abilities, but not overbearing. So
Right.
um, awesome, man. So who or what, if you could kind of try to pinpoint who or what would you say made the biggest impact on your life during your time at Cookson Hills?
I would definitely say like most of Cookson, if not all of Cookson staff and just people there, even some students and everything about it. We're all like really big helps for me because um, just the accountability was the biggest thing, and being able to talk with people that you had a one-on-one relationship anyways and say like, hey, I think I messed up here. How can I do that better next time? Being able to do that with a lot of people was a really big help. For me, particularly, if I were to name off two people, it would definitely be Javier and Sarah Gutierrez, my house parents. And because I was with them most of the time, if actually all the time. And being able to have them there in my corner just saying like, hey, you can do this better. They held me at a lot higher of an expectation than they did some of the other kids, and that was a really big help for me throughout my time there.
So let's talk about that relationship with your house parents. Is there something specific? Can you kind of think of a specific in your relationship with them that really made such a difference for you?
Well, it's funny because you have Miss Sarah, who is the type of person that just she'll be like, you know what, Lucas, you're really cool. You know, you're a nice guy, but you messed up in this particular situation. Okay, and I'd be like, okay. And then you have her giving it from that end, and then you have Mr. G, who's been there, who would be like, yeah, Miss Sarah is right, you know, but at the same time, I understand where you're coming from. So if you decide to take it this route also, combining what she said, yeah, booyah, you got a perfect situation. So having them both there, just kind of like giving me little insights throughout the whole time me being there was really big.
Awesome. Well, cool. So now, some way, shape, or form, I don't know what it's going to look like, but somehow in the next few weeks, you are going to graduate. You're graduating. It's going to happen, right? So taking all of this into account, your past and who you were before, your experience here at Cookson, the relationships you've formed and the growth that you've gone through, how would you say that your time at Cookson Hills, how would you say that that helped you prepare to launch into adulthood?
I would definitely say it's back to what I was talking about before, just with respect. Like, respect is huge, you know, and it will really get you far in life. And respect builds your character, and your character helps you be disciplined throughout your day to day to show that respect. And that is those three things is definitely what I needed the most, and it's the biggest thing that helped because for me, going into the army and afterwards being on the SWAT team, um, if I don't show that respect and if I don't use that discipline, then my whole time in the army and everything that I'm trying to do is kind of permissible because it's not going to work. I will fail, you know?
Yeah.
So using all that kind of stuff and everything that I've been taught and then applying it is that's probably the biggest thing that cooks us up.
Awesome. Awesome. So Cookson Hills exists because of churches and individuals and people all around the United States who are investing and pouring in, whether it be prayer, whether it be physical needs, whether it be financially investing in Cookson and really investing because they want to give students like you the best chance to succeed in your future. So if you had an opportunity to speak to those people, what would you like to say to them?
I would just give, for starters, a classic thank you because it's really cool that a place like Cookson exists, you know, because if they wouldn't have given what they have and done what they have done, like I wouldn't be graduating. A lot of really good people who are now doing really big things wouldn't have graduated and
Yeah.
wouldn't have had a chance to, if not graduated, just kind of like do a 180 with their life, you know? So I would definitely just say thank you because that's a really big.
Well, those of you out there who have joined us this evening, if you have any questions about Lucas's experience here or any questions about our programming, how that works, please feel free to drop us a comment. Just let us know what you're thinking. Let us know your questions, and we'll get back with you. As it is, thank you so much for joining us. I hope that you guys have a good evening.